What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Disc Golf Nerd Plastic Podcast. First of all, hope you guys all had a very nice Thanksgiving. Hopefully, you got to spend some time with friends and family, that sort of thing. I had a great one myself. A lot of great food with a lot of great people. Feel very blessed and grateful to have those people in my life and the ability to have such a great meal and spend such good time with people that I care about, that care about me. Hopefully, you guys have the same. I genuinely wish that for every single one of you guys. But Thanksgiving is over now. It is Cyber Monday. Hopefully, you guys are finding some good deals on some discs. If you're in the market for anything new, I just got a big Z Thrasher in the mail. I got to test the other day, and super stoked on that. Thrasher is just still crushing it for me right now. Really liking that thing. Throwing my first run that I showed you guys in my recent in the bag video. Quite a bit still in the last few rounds. Ever since I got it, really, I've been throwing it a lot. And it just flies really great for my arm speed. It works out really nicely. Super, super straight. Like, it's understable, but it's not like flippy. It's weird. Like, they say that in the literature on for the like in the description for the Thrasher, and I see what they're saying. Yeah, it's just like it doesn't really want to flip over on me, but it's understable enough that it'll kind of flip up and ride and stay straight. It just flies really nice. So I really like that disc. Thrasher's crushing it for me right now. Big Z Thrasher. Disc Golf Center is doing a Cyber Monday, Black Friday deal set up right now. So if you guys are in the market for any plastic, they might be a good place to check out. I know DD has some sales going on. Discraft has some sales going on. Gateway is doing another sale on for Black Friday, and they're selling my bag. So the Gateway backpack bag, which I've been really happy with. I mean, it's still in amazing shape for how long I've had it. No problems with it whatsoever. Great bag. They are on sale right now for $90, and you get 5 free putters. 5 putters. That's awesome, man. Even if you don't throw Gateway putters, you just get 5 like Voodoos or Warlocks or something like that, and they'll be great to give out to buddies who want to bring out to play or give away to somebody. Or sell them, get 5 wizards and try to sell them and make some of your money back towards the bag, even if you don't want to keep them. Like, it's still an amazing deal. I posted that on my Facebook, and yeah, those bags are made in the United States, which is amazing. For $90 for the bag alone, I think is a great deal. Let alone the fact they're throwing in 5 putters. So check that out. Hopefully that sale's still going on when you hear this. If you're interested in that sort of thing. Did a little bit more testing on the Andro C and the from Ozone Discs and also the Westside Queen. I'm real close to being able to review both of those, but I need to get one more field testing session in on them, and I'll be ready to go. I'm just not sure what I'm going to get to. It's been really rainy, really windy here in Portland, so I don't know. I haven't really had a lot of chances to I've actually really only thrown the Andro C for one testing session right now, and that's not enough. I need to get it out at least 2-3 times, varying conditions, and really get a feel for what it's going to do. But for the most part, it seems like a pretty slow, pretty stable, kind of point and shoot, longer approach type disc, almost like a faster, kind of beefy mid-range. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be. I know very little about the disc. I kind of just started throwing it to see what I thought of it, and it's interesting, though. We'll see full review coming out on that soon. The Westside Queen, if you guys want a quick like mini review on it, it absolutely bombs. It's extremely straight. It's incredibly comfortable, nicely contoured in the hand, and there's some big distance capability to it. But it's definitely got some understability to it where you got to dial it back. You got to put it on a little hyzer. Yeah, or if you want to throw a big turnover with it, you could definitely do that. Good disc. I need at least one more good field testing session in on that thing before I feel comfortable posting the review. I'm happy to report that after my last episode, I've actually heard from a few different people that are supposedly sending me some stuff to test and review. I'm not going to speak out of turn here and tell you guys what I got going on until it happens. Once I get these boxes, you'll definitely find out. I'll probably post unboxing for the stuff that I'm getting sent. Hopefully it shows up relatively soon. That would be rad. Hopefully it shows up today. I mean, I don't know. But, when people are sending you stuff for review, you don't want to be like, hey, did you ship that out yet? Like, where's my stuff? Yeah, like, I know I didn't buy it, but so yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping to have two really cool announcements for you guys relatively soon, so stay tuned for that. We'll see what happens. Mostly wanted to just touch base with you guys today. I've been enjoying doing these. I'm sitting down here, cup of coffee, got the house to myself this morning, and got the day off. So let's ramble a little bit. Um, so yesterday I got in three 9-hole rounds out at Rooster Rock State Park, two on the west side, one on the east side in the middle there, and really great day of golf. Had a great time, and I learned a few things, and I thought maybe I could like stream of consciousness style, just kind of just talk to you guys and see what I can think of that I learned in this one long day of throwing discs with my buddies. I try to learn things every time I go out there and try to recognize issues that I'm having and try to work on them. And I try to think about stuff that I learned, and I try to memorize that stuff, and try to build my base of knowledge and my base of understanding of disc golf as I go. So I figured maybe I would sit down and just ramble to you guys and see what I can find out about my round just by kind of talking it out with you guys. So we got there. It was surprisingly not very windy, which kind of annoyed me because I didn't bring the Queen because I thought it was going to be super windy, and since it's kind of understable, I was like, I don't need. I don't know if I want to carry this thing around with me on a wet day because it was rainy too. So I try not to have like the bag totally stuffed full of plastic on a wet day because I don't want to keep my putters in the putter pocket because it's a little bit exposed. So I keep everything in the main compartment with the zipper kind of pulled halfway, so I'm not getting too much water in my bag. So I usually take a few discs out of the bag for rainy rounds. If I know it's going to be like dumping rain, I might even just take like a reusable shopping bag or a small backpack and throw a few discs in there and go out and just play. But I wanted to have my full bag with me. I'm still trying to work on stuff and really get my bag dialed in. So, I wanted to have everybody with me. But I took a few discs out, and the Queen was one of them. Kind of annoyed me though, because when we got there, it was very minimal wind, and I could have thrown it more than enough times to get the review out to you guys today. But you live and you learn on that one. I just kind of goofed on that. But we got out there. It was a little light drizzle, light rain, light wind, nothing too crazy. Things that I learned, one is that, I try to start rounds wearing a jacket all the time, and I never get through a round. Like, I think one time in my life, I have finished a round of disc golf still wearing the sweatshirt that I was wearing when I started the round, and that was at Stubb Stewart State Park on one of the coldest weeks on record in Oregon for a very long time. Deep in the woods, there was ice and snow on the ground. Deep in the woods, not a drop of sunlight getting through to us. It was cloud. It was overcast. It was freezing cold. There was ice and snow everywhere, and it was a little breezy. And that was the only time I've ever played an entire round wearing my sweatshirt. Usually, I'll get 2-3 holes into it. My blood will start pumping, and I'll just get too hot. I'll start sweating, take it off, and then I end up carrying it the rest of the round. So what I did yesterday was I wore two different dry fit shirts. I wear these like really cheap polyester dry fit shirts that I get from OldNavy.com. They fit me well, and they wick moisture very nicely. They dry very quickly. So actually, I think I had a Discraft one on the bottom. Had one of my Old Navy ones on top, and then I just wore like a basic kind of like long john material thermal shirt over the top of that. It was really nice. I think I'm going to do that more this winter, because having the two base layers, they kind of allowed moisture to wick away from my skin a little bit. The outer dry fit shirt was a little bit more wet than the underneath one, which was beautiful. I stayed nice and warm. I didn't get like too wet, which was beautiful as well. And even in the rain, my thermal got a little wet, but it was totally fine. So that was nice. Also, Gore-Tex shoes, very nice for the winter time. My feet got a little bit wet just because there was a lot of long grass and a lot of moisture on the ground. So even with Gore-Tex, it's supposedly waterproof. You're still gonna get some moisture in there. but still vastly better than it would have been just wearing regular shoes out there. I would have gotten my feet wet in the first hole, and they would have been freezing cold, wet the whole rest of the round. So that's definitely a good recommendation. I also noticed that, like, thinking about after the round, that gear does matter sometimes. You know, like I was wearing nice Gore-Tex trail running style like mid height New Balance hiking shoes that I wear for disc golf, and I didn't slip at all on any of the tee pads, even in the moisture with those nice Vibram outsoles. They grip the tee pads nicely. I didn't slip. I didn't slip in the woods at all. Walking around on wet leaves and mud and stuff like that, I had no real issues there. I also had a nice like dollar store like chamois cloth that I was drying my discs off with, and everybody else had like just kind of cheesy golf towels that got soaked and they weren't really doing much good after that. I was using my little chamois cloth, like orange. It's kind of like a knockoff ShamWow type of thing, like I seen on TV thing. I was using that, wiping off my disc good and keeping the towel and the discs all in the main compartment there. I was able to get a nice grip on most of my discs. I don't think I had any slips out of my hand, even though it was a very wet round, which was beautiful. I also was another tip I'll throw out there for you guys is baseline plastic. When it gets wet out, that baseline plastic is the move, man. I have a Prime Trespass in the bag right now. I threw it a few times yesterday for a nice overstable shot, and you know, when it's wet out there, it just maintains a really nice grip. The other thing is, like, I have a nice soft magnet. That baseline soft magnet plastic feels good even with a little moisture on it. I didn't have any trouble with it slipping out of my hand. And I was throwing that quite a bit. So rather than throwing my proxy in the woods on some of those short shots where I may have on a dry day, I was throwing my magnets because I know I can get a nice grip on those and a good release even with some extra moisture. So it's good to have those in the bag. I recommend keeping I recommend keeping some baseline plastic, Pro D, DX, Prime, or Retro, whatever it is, some kind of baseline plastic of a disc that you know what it's going to do in your bag, especially for those times where it gets a little wet or times where you want to throw something that's inexpensive. Maybe it's a risky situation where if you took a bad kick, you could go off a cliff and it'd be hard to find, or there's a water hole or something like that. That baseline plastic, it's beautiful to have something like that in your bag. Say you throw T-Birds or Destroyers, get a DX T-Bird, throw one of those in the bag, throw a DX Destroyer in the bag, just so you have that option for if it's really wet out, still maintains a good grip, or again, you can throw it in a situation where you don't care if you lose it. It's not a big deal. Discraft throwers, highly recommend Pro D Forces. The Pro D Force is a really great disc. If you smash it into trees and stuff, it's going to get flippy on you, but if you just kind of use it for more open shots, they fly amazing, and the grip stays really nice even in the moist. Even if it's moist out or super wet out, you still be able to dry it off a little bit. And even if there's still a little moisture on there, you'll still get a good grip. Great disc, Pro D Force. Highly recommend checking those out. But yeah, any manufacturer you throw should have a baseline version of those discs, except for with few exceptions. But especially if you're a Discraft, Innova, Latitude, or DD guy, they have plenty of options in those baselines. Definitely recommend those. So that's something that I didn't learn yesterday, but was reinforced by my experiences yesterday. Had a couple of great throws with the Prime Trespass. The one issue that I did have yesterday is I was throwing outside of the line that I was looking for. I was trying to throw low hyzer on the inside and I ended up going outside a few times, which does happen. Generally, it's not that big of a deal. It's still on the hyzer angle. It's still kind of flying the route that I want it to, but not quite getting the kind of the shape I was looking for. So that's something I need to keep an eye on. But my just straight shots right now are feeling really good. I'm feeling very consistent with the Thrasher and feeling really good with it off the tee. Very clean. Every time I need to throw one of my trespasses, I'm feeling very confident with those as well. My compasses are working out very nicely. All that was reinforced. The Jawbreaker Magnet on a rainy day, still amazing, still putting really well. I left a couple more short than I would have liked to yesterday, but they're all for birdie pretty much. I think I only missed a couple of putts for par. Um, I'm trying to remember now. I know I didn't take anything worse than a 4 on the entire round, which I felt pretty good about for 27 holes, right? 27, yeah, 27 holes and adverse conditions with the rain and in a course that's extremely wooded and you can get into a lot of trouble. There's a lot of trees to be found out there. I felt really good about not taking anything more than a bogey for the entire day. That felt really good, very consistent. Got a few 2s out there, but nothing too crazy. Another thing that's been benefiting me a lot lately is I'm trying to dial in a much more consistent routine with my putting and with my driving. I'm trying to, it sounds silly, but I'm trying to like visualize Paul McBeth a little bit during my throws. You know, kind of the way he starts his run up and the kind of angle that he has with his elbow and stuff like that, leading into his run up, where he kind of leads forward with the elbow a little bit before he does his X step and his reach back. I'm trying to get that going. I'm also trying to like bend my knees a little bit more and try to make sure I'm using my legs on the throws off the tee in particular. Make sure I'm throwing smooth and following through and all that stuff is. I'm really trying to focus and build that routine. With my putting, I realize that I'm kind of in the between my routine. Like, it's almost a blend of, like, Paige Pierce and Paul McBeth, which is kind of funny. Like, I kind of line up like Paige, where I stand there and I line up my putter straight out towards the basket to make sure my shoulders and everything are lined up the way I want to. Then I settle in. I stop short of doing the little foot dig that Paul does with his back foot, where he kind of wiggles it and makes sure he's got a firm connection. I don't do that. I think that's a little bit too much. But I do hold it very similar to the way he does leading into his putt. I feel like if you're going to rip somebody off, why not Paul McBeth? As much as I feel like Ricky's probably the better putter this year, I don't think there's any real dispute in that. Ricky Iwasaki is probably the best putter in the world right now. I can't really duplicate his form with that underhand pitch style. It just never works for me. So I can get into that zone where I'm holding the disc. I'm kind of feeling that vibe like Paul. I bring it down very slow, and then I release my forward release and all that is definitely different. But just trying to release it straight out at the basket. And the magnet's working really well for that. So I'm trying to like bring in some influences from people subconsciously or otherwise to kind of dial in my routine and get to the point where I can get that focus and have everything under, having my feet underneath me in the right way. Just have that foundation set up there that I know I can execute it in a similar fashion over and over and over again. So that's the key to putting that I've started to learn, and it's pretty obvious, is that if you can throw that putt straight in, you just got to do it over and over again. That's the trick. That's what makes it so difficult. Is you need to be able to do it over and over and over again in the same way. That's what makes you a good putter. And I think the routine, whatever your routine is, try to get a routine. Try to set up something that lets you pull in that focus. You get that nice deep breath, and you're hitting that release point. I find a lot with putting, things that I get into. One of my main problems with putting is I'll have everything set up, good to go. I'll reach back, and as I pull forward, rather than snapping my wrist that little bit and making sure that I'm using my fingers to propel the disc forward, I kind of just like and like let it pop out of my hand, and it hyzers out early, and I miss. That's like the biggest issue with my putting, and if I can avoid doing that for an entire round, I'll hit most of my putts inside the circle at this point. It's just feeling really good, and as long as I concentrate on that pop, everything's good. So if I can get my feet set up the right way, my shoulders lined up correctly, now I have everything good in a good position, and then I could go out and show you guys how to do this or whatever, but you could just go watch countless hours of Paul McBeth putting, because I'm basically trying to rip him off. So just go watch him. You don't need to watch me like half-ass Paul Macbeth putt. You can go watch him do it. But as long as I get everything lined up in that right way, and I have that focus lined in, then all I have to remember to do is that pop at the end. Everything else is there. I bring it back. I have everything lined up in play, or in place and lined up with the bucket. And as long as I make that pop out of my fingers, out of my hand, bam, it's in. And it just feels so good to be hitting so many putts and feeling very consistent right now. It's just awesome. I actually bought. It's funny. I just posted that video with my in the bag and all my backup throwers. I already have another Jawbreaker magnet, and I already have another Thrasher in my system. If you did see that, I did end up putting that yellow opaque Ricky compass in the bag. Threw it a couple times. Great flyer. It's going to stay in there. Totally fine. I like the opaque plastic. It looks good, and it's just a great flyer. So that one's going to stay in the bag. I'm probably going to start carrying 2 Thrashers just because I feel like the big Z one has a little bit more flip to it. Just a hair. So I wanna see if that's true and throw them back to back on some rounds and stuff and see how they fly. It's funny too because sometimes you could say, yeah, I have 2 of these in my bag or 3 of these in my bag because they have different flights, or I have 2 of these in my bag in case I lose one of them. Totally valid for me. A lot of the times, if I'm being honest, the reason I have 2 of something in my bag is because I'll throw one and then I want to throw another shot and then I have another one to throw. I just like throwing discs. So I'll have 2 Thrashers in the bag. So even if I pure one right where I want it to go, I might throw the other one just because it was so fun to throw it. I just like throwing plastic. So sometimes I like having extra discs in the bag just so I can throw extra shots off the tee and that sort of thing, which is another totally reasonable reason to carry a bunch of plastic is that you get to throw it. So I think that's about all I really learned on this round. But yeah, good shoes, definitely a good thing to have, especially when conditions get kind of rough out there. Maintaining a nice dry bag on a rainy day is very important. Have a towel that's absorbent. It's good to have 2 towels if you can. One that you can kind of wipe dirt and mud off of, and then one that you just wipe off residual moisture after that. That's a very nice system as well. I was doing some of that as well, where I have a towel that's attached to my bag. Plus, I had that orange one that I was doing the final touch with it. Also, don't dry off your disc too soon because if you're standing you're standing behind the tee pad, you're third to throw. If you dry off your disc right when you get to the next tee and you're standing there, obviously it's going to get water right back on it. So what you want to do is, right when it's your turn to throw, put the finishing touches on drying it off. Make sure you got a good grip onto your hand, dry it again, and then grab it right on that dry area, hold it there, and then throw. Another thing I was doing was I was drying it off as I was waiting for everybody to throw, and then I was just leaving the towel on top of the disc and kind of holding it so that even if any more water fell out of the sky onto the disc, it was hitting the towel and not the disc directly, so I didn't have to wipe that back off. The towel was absorbing it. So then my disc was still nice and dry. Step up the tee. Again, I had no grip issues whatsoever. I released early a couple times, but that was just what just because I did. It didn't slip out of my hand. I just released a little offline. But yeah, so that's definitely a good tip as well. Controlling your layers out there on the course can make a lot of difference for your comfort and stuff like that. It's always good to be able to wick moisture away from your body. Don't just feel like you need to bundle up with a million layers and just keep them on, because if you sweat underneath all those layers, you're just still going to get cold and kind of clammy feeling. It's not going to be very good. It's good to have layers that you can take on and off. It's just annoying to carry layers when you take them off, so it's nice to get a good feel in. Plan for the fact that you're going to get moving, your heart rate's going to get up, you're going to build some warmth just from moving, from throwing, walking around. So don't plan on it based on how you feel right when you get to the course cold. You just got out of the car after a half hour, 20 minutes in the car. It's winter, you feel cold. Remember, throwing a drive is a full body activity. You throw a couple of drives, start to get, obviously you need to warm up before your round. We warmed up quite a bit, a lot of twisting, a lot of rotating my hips, a lot of stretching, getting my arms, my shoulder warmed up before I even threw a drive, threw any shots at all. We did a good amount of warm up. Another good thing for the winter and all times. You guys should definitely be trying to get loose. Don't just show up on the tee pad and start throwing stuff. So yeah, all that stuff is good, but plan on that. You're gonna get warmer, and so even if you feel cold when you get to the course, you're like, I want to wear a jacket or something. Maybe carry it with you. Maybe wear it for a few holes to get warm, and then take it off. But it's just, if you have a small bag, carrying a jacket is really annoying. So I try not to do that. So a lot of times I'll just deal with it. I'll just be cold for a few holes until I get warmed up, and then I'll be all right from there. So that's all little things that I either learned or were kind of reinforced that I took from yesterday's round out at Rooster Rock State Park. I set a pretty good score of 1 over par for 27 holes. I had one just blatant mistake. And this is another thing that I've noticed about myself that I should probably work on. I should probably go out to a field and set up like a cone or something like that, something visual, and work on my wide open 100-foot up shots. For some reason, it's such an easy shot. It's too easy. Like, I could throw it straight at it. I could throw a hyzer. There's different options for what I could do in that situation. And I usually try to throw a smooth hyzer to it because I feel like that's consistent. I could throw a little bit more stable disc on a hyzer, let it dump towards the basket. But then if you throw it inside of that, you're going to hyzer out early. And I messed up that shot. I was playing clean par golf throughout the whole front nine. Last hole of the front nine is just a big shot where you throw out and around this tree, and then you're wide open. All you got to do is pitch it up to the basket and move on. I had probably less than 100 feet, just wide open, nothing in the way at all. And I messed it up. It was probably one of the easiest shots of the day. I'm throwing shots off the tee through a 6-foot gap in the trees with a putter and getting through there. And I'm, bending on an anhyzer through this tiny gap in the trees and that sort of thing. And I can execute those shots. But then I get to that wide open, super easy shot. And, if I just threw that one up there, tapped it in, then I would have shot even par for the day. Would have felt really good about that. That would have been really nice. 1 over is fine. I definitely could have and should have gotten more birdies out there. That's for sure. And I could have easily shot under par had I got some birdies. But, I only had like 3 birdies on the day. 3 birdies on the day, which is not very good. I definitely looking for more than that. But it's just playing so clean and so steady, and then to make a mistake on that wide open shot, it's really frustrating. I'm not sure what it is. It's like a mental block. Like, it's too easy. Like, it's just, the basket's just right here. Just throw the disc right here. Is that so hard? No trees, nothing you got to work through. I feel like if I had to bend it around a tree, I'd be more likely to get up and down. It's just, it's a weird mental block that I have, something I need to work on, and something I need to recognize. So that's just me kind of, again, stream of consciousness, going through, dissecting my round for you guys. Yesterday, just take from it what you can. Maybe you just sat around and listened to some dude ramble about disc golf for no reason. Maybe you got something out of that. Hopefully you did. Either way, I love you guys out there. Thanks very much for all the support. Again, hopefully you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the early part of the holiday season here. Look forward to posting a lot more reviews coming up this month. Once I can finally get a little bit more, just one more testing session in, I'll be ready to post 2 different reviews. So stay tuned for that stuff. If you guys have any questions for me or anything, you know where to find me. And I'll check you guys later. All right, cheers.